So I went for an NCT, ended up failing on a few things. So the NCT is basically just just to see if your car is roadworthy, and emissions test and all that rubbish. And yeah, so here it is. So we've failed on a few things, not too big though. So first thing was alignment, and then emissions. On the high idle, the low idle was fine, just the headlight, and then a few things like yeah, battery mounting, I completely forgot to put that on. The plate was wobbly, and the wishbones are worn, wishbone bushings are worn down. So yeah, that's not much in it. So it's just the hardest thing to do will probably be the emissions, but I've got everything ordered now. So to try and sort the emissions problem out, bought a new O2 sensor, and I'm pretty sure the old cat was blocked from the whole time it used to burn oil, so it's probably been plugged the whole cat up and it's not working correctly. So I bought a brand new like aftermarket one. Also I have bought some new bushings. They didn't specify if it was like the lower or upper bushings. All it said was the front, so I've bought the lower ones. I already had some camber arms, but yeah, bought that. I've got the front, and then I've got rear camber arms as well, which I'll fit too. But yeah, first, and the rest of the bushings and ball joints for the lower arms are in the freezer, so they'll fit on a bit easier. So I'm just gonna go ahead, bring the car in, and then start. Probably start with the cat, take the cat off and replace it with this new one, and the O2 sensor, stick that into, and hopefully that would be the emissions crossed off. I've still got the exhaust off, and somehow I've got to get the old cat off with these really worn out or flipping welded on bolts or whatever they are, probably because of the heat. I've got to figure out a way to get that off, and then I'll be able to put on the new one. So that's the old one. Not sure. Should be able to see inside this. See, there's loads of like oil, like gold carbon built up onto it. Yeah, so gonna change that out with this one. So the cat's on, so but just before I put the exhaust back on, I'm actually going to be switching out this aftermarket manifold with the original, because I'm unsure if I'm not sure if it will affect the emissions having that one on. I read up and some say it does, some say it doesn't, so just to be sure I'm going to be putting the standard one back in, so then I'll have the full standard exhaust thing, brand new cap and brand new O2 sensor will be going in, and hopefully that there will solve the emissions. Alright, so all the pieces are back on, all the exhaust pans, so I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the next thing, which is going to be the bushings, as well as the bushings for the lower control arms, as well as the new camber arms for the front. So I'm going to be putting these on, and these new bushings here for the lower control arm, and then I also have some new ball joints for the lower part. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these on axle stands, take that off, and then start taking the wheel off, so I can get access to all them suspension pieces. Okay, so I got this camber arm fitted. I will adjust the position once I have everything back together, but for next I'm going to be taking this whole wheel assembly piece off, so I can get to the lower control arm. So it's just a few bolts, and then I'll be able to change the bushings, and I can see there where they have marked, so that must be one of the bad bushings. So I've got the whole kit anyway to replace them all. Right, so I got the lower wishbone out, and so I've got to get these be able to push these out, and this one too. Best thing to use would be a press, which I don't have, so I'm just going to have to try and figure out a way to get it off using the vise, and hopefully it's possible, or just hammer it out as best as I can. I should be able to vise this one out, but the angle of this one, I probably won't get it into the vise, so I might just have to hammer it out this side. So I'm just going to go ahead and try and get these bushings out as quickly as possible, and I have the other bushings in the freezer, so they shrink a little bit, so it's easy to get them back in. Okay, so I got the old bushings out. They were a bit of a pain because they didn't have a press or anything, but we got there. So I've got the new ones, just took them out of the freezer, so it should be a bit smaller to fit inside. Right, so that's a ball joint on as well. Also got that bushing finished too, so what I'm going to do is just put these back onto the car, and then I can adjust the new camber arm in there. Right, so that's one side all back together, except for a few screws there, but I'll stick them on when I put the wheel on. I definitely think it's set to positive now, because if you look from this side, you can tell, well I can tell anyway, it's like that now, but won't know until I get it down on the ground to see how it levels out. I'm gonna go and whack out this side and do all the bearings, all the bushings, and put the camber arm on as well. Okay, so everything's back together, and the camera arms as well have worked, so you can see the wheels sitting pretty flush and straight. I think this one is a tiny bit positive, so it's bending that way tiny bit because it comes out a tiny bit more, and all the bearings are all bushings are all in now, and yeah, there it is. See, it's pretty flush with it, so I'm happy with that. It's probably a little bit positive, this one, so I'll probably fix that at some point. that's pretty much everything at the front. I'm going to go ahead and sort out the camber arms for the rear. Right, so every bit's back together, all the camber arms and everything, all the new bushings. So I'm just going to go to garage, get alignment done, and then that should be all pretty much everything done for the NCT, and hopefully it will pass this time.